Hello, everyone. We are very glad to welcome you on our today's webinars. My name is Yulia Novikova. I'm responsible for digital footprint intelligence service in Kaspersky. Hello, everyone, once again. Sergey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sergey Chergov. I'm a security expert at Kaspersky Lab, and I'm also glad to see you today. I hope it will be interesting for you.
Great. So today we're going to discuss quite interesting and involving topic about darknet related threat, the most popular as we see from our expertise. Will be about how attackers gain access to corporations, their infrastructure, how they sell initial access to the companies, and what profit they can get from it. Before to start, I want to say a couple of words about our daily routine. So we are working as a part of our threat intelligence portfolio, in which we have the coverage of all the possible stages related to information security strategy. So there are threat detection, initial response, investigation on the incidents, and of course, threat hunting, search for current threats appeared in our customers' infrastructure. As a part of the portfolio, we also have digital footprint intelligence service, in which we check the possible attack vectors and potential threats from external cybercriminals targeted at our customers. One of these threats is the darknet-related activities and possible discussions coming from cybercriminals. And today we want to share with you some insights from our daily working routine and what we see when we do such analysis and research of darknet resources. First of all, we need to agree on some terms and terminologies that we use, because there is no common definition for what darknet is. And basically this term, darknet or dark web or shadow resources, covers wide area of different resources. So today we want to discuss things that we see discussed on forums, channels and groups and messengers, darknet markets and shops, maybe ransomware blogs and personal sites of cybercriminals or known groupings, and of course, Tor onion resources. Some resources of darknet were left out of scope of the today discussion, because they also can be file sharing resources, torrents, IT forums, paste sites, but today we're not going to discuss any things that basically shared on these resources. Another interesting topic to discuss when we talk about the darknet, it's about how to get access to these resources, because if you want to get information from it, first of all, you need to get access. And it cannot be that easy as it only seems. Here can be some technical requirements and limitations coming from cybercriminals and their forums. The easiest scenario, and there is no specific requirements, and forum just available in the internet without any limitations. Another limitation can be that you should use Tor browser, or you need to set up proxies, or you need to bypass restriction for your geolocation, or if the specific site was blocked by law agencies in the country. Once we got access to the forum, and there can be also some limitations coming from the specific forum. That can be required registration, where you need to specify your email address, the valid one, or your contacts from another platforms, messengers, maybe if you have already existing account on another darknet forum, and you need somehow to prove your identity, that you are not a bot and a real person who will follow the forum's rules and take participation in the communication between members. For access to some threads and branches on the specific forum, you will need to require also a good reputation. So you will need also to prove that you are a reliable guy, that you have something to offer on the forum, or you are ready to buy something that is also appeared on it. For access to some forums, you will need to pay. So some of them have paid access. The price basically starts from $100 up to $500, and here can be different schemes. So it's like a permanent payment or a payment on like a subscription model. For access to some very private and specific forums, there can be like you should have an invitation from another member who will help you to get an access to this resource and be like a guarantee for you. So, okay, let's consume that we have the list of darknet resources and we also know how to get access to them. And now let me draw your attention to the very well-known MITRE ATT and CK framework, which describes attack stages that basically will be implemented if someone, a cybercriminal or the whole group wants to attack a specific company and get access to their data or confidential information. Everything starts with the initial access and then goes to many other stages, which will be basically covered by different team members, because implementing these stages will require different skills from the team. So today we want to focus more on the first stage, on the initial access. And here are two basic scenarios. So getting access to the company's infrastructure is an easier way to monetize the activity by entry-level cyber criminals, because they don't have enough experience to develop the whole attack life cycle. So, for example, they will manage to exploit easy vulnerability, but what they will do next with it is a good question. On the other side, there are experienced cyber criminals and APT groups. For them, it's cheaper and faster to buy the data on initial access for the companies rather than to run the whole reconnaissance stage, to gather the information, to collect it and understand the weaknesses of the company and try to exploit possible attack vectors that exist. So entry-level cyber criminals, they basically sell the initial access, and experienced guys, for them it's cheaper to buy and like skip the stage, pay some money, and then run the most interesting attack stages like getting access, lateral movement, persistent, and of course exfiltration of the data. So when we talk about a specific forum, we calculated that about 5% of all messages on this forum will be related to selling access to corporate infrastructure. This is a quite interesting figure because, of course, there are dozens of posts, comments, topics, and different thematic threads on the forum, and having 5% of all messages. This is a quite high figure, which indicates the high interest and high demand for such data on a forum. So a couple of words about the motivation. This is quite obvious and lays on the very simple answer, because all they want is the money. Having initial access to the company will help to get the profit by the very common and well-known scenario. They can just sell the stolen data, get access to critical systems, get the highest privileges, and then exfiltrate data and sell it for the interested people, or they can just run ransomware attack and get the profit by encryption and request ransomware from the victim company. A couple of words about what does it mean exactly, initial access to corporate infrastructure, what they sell. As an offer, advertisement may contain information about valid credentials available for specific company on their exposed services. It can be RDP, SSH, VPN. Also, cybercriminals may sell a user or admin cookie for access to exposed web panels. There can be also details on a remote command execution vulnerability. For instance, if the cybercriminal managed to find the way how to exploit the vulnerability, maybe 0-day or a well-known one, they can offer for sale an attack vector. So how to exactly, which request you should exactly send to the company's resource, and then get that access to it. And it can be also already uploaded web shell. For example, if the cybercriminal managed to find a way how to exploit the company resource, they can just put the web shell by themselves and then sell access to this web shell to simplify their offering. Also, we should say here a couple of words how cybercriminals get this data. So how they get the initial access to the corporate infrastructure and then sell it. There are very common and well-known scenarios we want to discuss today. So they may exploit like the available vulnerabilities on the network perimeter. They may run phishing attacks and and implement different social engineering techniques, or they can infect the user devices and then grab the data from them and use for further access. So we want to dive deep into these scenarios. The first one, as I said, is about vulnerabilities exploitation. Here I can say about 4 major ways. The first one, like very popular, when we detect unpatched software and there are available exploits that can be used against it. So here some very hype vulnerabilities. For example, in December, we all heard about Log4Shell discovered in Apache products, and which was exploited dozens times against multiple victims. Another way can be finding vulnerabilities in web applications. So here they may refer to well-known ranking of well-known vulnerabilities. For example, it can be different injections, misconfigurations, some issues with access control in the specific application, and then use it as a possible attack vector. Another type of exploited vulnerabilities can be just misconfigured services left without authentication, or which are used with the default credentials, which are used with the very predictable credentials, or they just were left on the network perimeter without any configuration, and IT staff didn't follow like best practices for setting this system up. And the last part of possible exploitation of the vulnerabilities might be finding 0 days. And of course, this is not the scenario for entry-level guys, but still should be mentioned here. As I said, another scenario of getting initial access to the company's infrastructure might be from phishing attacks. And here we had the very good research coming from our colleagues and published recently about spam and phishing attacks happened last year. Sum up from this research that the most common attack mailing scenarios were like send the employees correspondence from the potential partners or existing partners pretending to be them. That can be also email on undelivered message and call like you have to read this message, please follow our email portal and see it. They can be fake notifications about meetings in Microsoft Teams or messages about important documents. So it's very easy to lure employees to follow your link if it's about salary payment or if it's about vacation approval or it marked with urgent alert. Please make it ASAP and all the things. And of course, there are still COVID-related emails when they try to phish users with the messages about compensation for their leave or vacation, some messages about vaccination and how they should proceed it, or even dismissal from work because of their disease. And the last part about how to get access to initial access to the corporate infrastructure or their resources is about infecting devices with a data stealer. So let's assume the following case when specific malware, usually data stealer, infects user device. That can be like a personal laptop, that can be your wearable device, that can be your mobile phone, or even corporate workstation. Of course, it runs the way when the user do not notice anything and continue to use resources as usual. For example, you read your mailbox, you can use your social networks, you can pass the credentials for access to the resources that basically you visit. And all this data will be intercepted by the installed malware and then sent to command and control server to be packed in logs, which can be used by cybercriminals in a different way. Of course, they can use them by themselves. For example, they can parse, analyze these malware logs, search for the data they are basically need or interested in. Or otherwise, if it's easier for them to monetize them by selling, they can just push these logs on the darknet forums for sale and then get profit this way. Some examples of what kind of data stealers can collect from the user devices. They are, of course, payment data specified in online banking systems. They can be personal data, of course, domain credentials for access to corporate resources. They can be also credentials for third-party services, partner sites, different web applications. That can be their social network accounts and authorization tokens. So here you can see also on the screenshot some offerings from the darknet and dozens of these malware log files uploaded on file sharing resources. Another question we want to discuss today is once the cybercriminal have an initial access to the specific company, how he will decide under which price he should sell it. So how to put a price tag for selling initial access. And here we have an answer, because we took about 200 advertisements on selling initial access to company from darknet, and then checked them against the following criteria that we separated by ourselves. The first criteria will be the company revenue, so how large company is and how many money they earn. Another criteria is the type of access. So what exactly we want to sell. Another criteria here will be like the price and topic. So how we assess the price by ourselves, and if there are any information on companies, so in which area they operate or to which industry it belongs. So here the summary of our research and what we discovered. Most offers fall within the price starting from $100 up to $5,000. And basically these prices and lots refer to small businesses which have up to 100,000 millions of revenue. On the figure, you can also see the trend line, which shows the average price from $2,000 up to $4,000. And it grows as the company's revenue also increases. The majority of offers, a bit less than half of them, are cheaper than $1,000. So we can say that initial access to the company is a real cheap item, asset on the darknet forum. But some of the lots already come with the bonuses. So some offers may come not only with the information about initial access, but with some pieces of already stolen data, for example, a small piece of the database, some documents that cybercriminals already extracted from the company, and it's like some bonus offered in the same advertisement. Let's jump to another criteria. It's about type of access. So here we see that 75% of all lots offer initial access through RDP. Remote control interface, very well known, and it's also quite discussable thing that it's very critical to left it exposed, but still it happens, and guys are ready to exploit it. So RDPs also offered with different privileges. They can be access under domain admin rights, that can be access with local administrator rights, or even under regular user. There is a small percentage of other advertisement, other topics, which offer access through VNC, access through web shell, as we discussed previously, access to Citrix panels, attack vectors with SQL injection, access to hosting panels, and of course there can be offers without any details or without mention of what exactly they sell and how what type of access the buyer will get. Pricing the topic. During our research, we noticed that after the first publication, some offers may then come with the discounts if the price was unreasonably high. So some cybercriminals are ready to make the price double times lower. So they understand, it's important for them to just sell this item, not keep it with them, because credentials may be changed. Company may notice that there is something suspicious or strange with the accounts, with the external resources. So they are ready to make such special offers for existing buyers. Otherwise, on the other hand, we see that some offers can be closed even that day when they were published. So if the advertisement offered comes from the person with a good reputation, if there is a value for money, for example, the price is quite adequate and the company revenue is high, then this deal can be even closed that day. Another topic that we want to jump in is about the impact. So once we have initial access to the company, what cybercriminals will do with it? So what they will, how they will get the profit, get the money from the company under the attack. So the answer for the question is also obvious. The easiest way to make a successful attack, the easiest way to earn money from the victim is running a ransomware attack. And here are dozens of examples of such successful monetizing of the victims. But here we see that there is a tendency not only to encrypt the data and ask for ransom from the victims, but also steal their corporate data and offer it for sale. If we talk about ransomware attacks and what ransomware groups will do with the stolen data, so here we see three major ways on how they will proceed with the information. The first one, they will just publish the stolen data without any agreement with the victim. Once they didn't pay them money, once they didn't pay the ransom, they just publish it. Another way, if they discover the access to the company, once they run the ransomware attack, they immediately push the notice on their personal blog or public site, like, guys, hello, we compromised these companies and we are ready to share with you very interesting data up to this specific date if they will not pay us. So starting this time, company has a very small period of time under which they can pay or everything will be published. And the last scenario here is the most interesting from the attacker's perspective, is running auctions in which stolen data will be offered for sale with increased price and will be sold to the buyer. Basically, it's a single buyer who will offer the highest price. And here, the interesting conclusion that the lowest lot price normally starts from like tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then may reach up to millions of dollars. So we are ready to jump to the conclusions of our today's talk. The first one that we already showed you, the demand for corporate data is very high, and it doesn't always involve targeted attacks. Another conclusion here is that attackers may gain access to the infrastructure of a random company and then sell it to the cybercriminals, experienced ones later, who will run the whole attack life cycle, the whole attack stages, and then get the profit from the ransomware attack or selling stolen data. And there is a quite large market for those who need an access to need this initial access, and a larger market for those who wants to sell such access, because there is a high demand. What we can say here as the experts in the area of threat intelligence is that gaining visibility across the darknet is essential for companies who want to keep an eye on such threats, who want to be notified about any possible activities or cybercriminal discussions or threats against them, against their industry, against the other companies. And here we have like our Kaspersky Threat Intelligence Portal, which will definitely help with this task for our cyber security colleagues and IT staff to monitor threats on the darknet and be aware of any mentions, any hits related to the company. Another very important conclusion here is that still valid credentials for access is the most common darknet offer. And this is about especially RDP access, remote management control interface. Here we want to recommend our customers and the whole audience is to follow best practices of the cybersecurity and how to organize remote access to the company, make sure that there is no interfaces exposed or they only available through VPN connection, prohibit direct access from external networks, from external IP addresses which are not related to your company, keep running network inventory, keep running penetration testing, vulnerability assessment to be sure that everything is in place, that patch installed, that access is restricted, that firewalls are working well. And of course, do not forget to implement two-factor authentication for all management interfaces, even once available on the external perimeter for access to the external resources. The last conclusion here is the major ones, that price for initial access is quite less compared to profit which cybercriminals can get after the successful attack, after they got the whole access to the company. So initial access starts from $100 dollars, and the whole profit under the attack may reach up to $1 million. So the conclusion here, it's cheaper to invest in security rather than deal with the incident's consequences. And for those who was with us till current moment, there is a special offer. It's very hard in uncertain times for all of us. And here in Kaspersky, we want to make an offer for you. Please follow our Threat Intelligence Resource Hub offer and see what we have for you. How to monitor ongoing cyber attacks, be aware on the modern threats. And this is all at no charge, for free, for our customers and everyone who needs the support this hard time. I think this is all from our side that we had to talk about for today. Let's have a discussion. So I'm jumping to the questions section to see what you had left for us here. Okay, the question. Is the difference between dark and deep web? Cybercriminals sell access in both? As we see from our side, from our expertise, what we see on a daily basis, the difference is quite slight here. So it's not that simple to differentiate where we see the dark web or a deep web. Of course, there are a difference between them about the reputation of those guys who publish any messages, reputation on the forum itself, the percentage of the posts coming from reliable person, percentage of posts which are just rubbish, honestly saying, and how many fake messages they have, how many messages were closed or deleted by the administrators, how many messages are just published on daily basis without any progress on them. So it's like noisy activity. So this is how we basically decide if it's a real darknet resource or it's just some bullshit site which just repost the fake messages or information from script kiddies and unreliable guys. So another one question that I see in the chat, what can I do if there is a data breach? So, if you already noticed that there is something wrong with your external resources, or there is a post claiming that someone got access to your company resources, they sell access, or they already running any ransomware auctions, let's assume this scenario as well. So, the obvious recommendation here is just run immediately and search for incident response guys who will help you with that case if you don't have this such team internally, or your security guys cannot deal with such security issue. So just find the right service provider who will help you to run the incident response, who will run the whole forensic malware analysis and understand what exactly happens. So finding a good team, finding the right service provider is the key recommendation here, honestly. So I think I should pass words to my colleague Sergey.
Yeah. Another one questions. What are the leading forums for selling access to corporate networks? For our experience, the most popular is forum exploit.in, and another one is xss.is. There are most popular forums.
So checking, thank you, Sergey. Checking if there is any other hits, other messages in chat. So I think this is all that we have from our today's audience. Thank you very much for joining us today. It was really fun to talk with you guys, and do hope it was interesting for you and also helpful against the threats that we see, and it will definitely help you to protect your organization's resources. Feel free to reach us with any questions, any suggestions, any information required from about threat intelligence, what we have, and how we can help you with the darknet monitoring. Also, in the attachment, you can see our recent publication about this topic, about the research, so you may familiarize yourself with it later. And also the recording will be available on our public resource secure list. Please feel free to refer it anytime. It's available for all our subscribers and customers for free. Once again, thank you for joining us today. Hope it was fun. Have a nice day then, and bye-bye.